Hey there and welcome. If you're learning English, you've probably run into some of those small words that can cause big headaches. You know, words like much, many, some, and any. Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to make these words, called quantifiers, super simple. Ready? Let's get into it.
So, have you ever said something like, I have many homework, and the person you're talking to looks a little confused? Yeah, that's a really common mix-up. But the good news is, there's a very simple reason why. And once you get it, you're going to feel so much more confident when you speak.
And here it is. This is the big secret. Seriously, getting these words right just comes down to one single idea. If you can get this one concept, everything else just clicks into place. It's all about what kind of thing you're talking about.
Okay, so here's the deal. English pretty much divides things into two big groups. First, you have countable nouns. These are things you can actually count individually, like one apple, two apples, or one chair, two chairs. Easy enough, right? Then you've got uncountable nouns. These are things you can't really count one by one, like ideas, liquids, or materials. You'd never say one water or two informations. It just sounds, well, wrong.
Let's look at a picture. This makes it super clear. See the eggs? You can count them. 1, 2, 3 eggs. That's countable. But now, look at the bread. You can't say one bread, two breads. You need to say something like a slice of bread or a loaf of bread. The idea of bread by itself is uncountable. This visual really shows you the difference.
Let's do one more. A chair? Totally countable. You can see one chair, two chairs. But what about money? Now, this one trips a lot of people up. We can count dollars or coins, sure, but the general idea of money is uncountable. You wouldn't say, I have 5 monies. You'd say, I have $5. And that difference is the key to everything else we're about to talk about.
All right, so now that we've got our one big rule down, let's open up your quantifier toolkit. Just think of these words as special tools that help you talk about how much or how many of something you have. Let's start building it.
So, before we can even talk about amounts, we have to know how to ask about them, right? How do you form the question in the first place? Well, you guessed it. It comes right back to our big rule. And here's exactly how that works. For things you can count, our countable nouns, you ask, how many? How many buses? How many people? But for uncountable stuff, you use how much traffic? How much sugar? It's a perfect match. Many for countable, much for uncountable. So much and many are perfect for talking about big amounts, especially when you're asking questions. They are also your go-to words for negative sentences. For example, I don't have many friends here, or there isn't much time left. So for questions and negatives about large amounts, they're definitely your best bet. But what about positive sentences, when you're just stating a fact? Well, here's your new best friend, the phrase, a lot of. And the best part? It works for everything. Countable? I have a lot of friends. Uncountable? I have a lot of homework. Seriously, when you're not sure, a lot of is almost always a safe, natural-sounding choice. Okay, what about small amounts? We have another perfect pairing here. For a small number of countable things, we use a few. Like, I need a few apples. For a small amount of an uncountable thing, we use a little, as in, I'll have a little milk in my coffee. See? It's another direct match. A few for countable, a little for uncountable.
Now pay close attention to this next part. This is a little trick that will make your English sound so much better. That tiny letter A completely changes the feeling of what you're saying. If you say, I have a few friends, that sounds positive. It means you have some friends, and that's good. But if you say, I have few friends, it sounds kind of sad and negative, like you have almost none. It's the same for a little versus little. It's a tiny change, but it makes a huge difference. And what about some and any? These are like your all-purpose tools. And the rule here is refreshingly simple. Use some for positive statements. I need some water. And use any for questions and negative statements. Do you have any water? Or I don't have any water. And just like a lot of, they work for both countable and uncountable nouns. Super, super useful. Okay, theory is great, but let's see how this stuff actually works in the real world. We've got the rules, we've built our toolkit. Now let's put all these pieces together in a situation you might actually find yourself in, especially if you're a tourist. Okay, so just imagine you're visiting a new city, and someone gives you this survey about the local transportation. This is a perfect example of where knowing your quantifiers is essential for understanding and being understood. Let's take a look at the questions. Look at this. It's our rules in action, right here on the page. The first question, are there any electric buses? It's a question, so we use any. Buses are countable, right? So the next question is, how many? Perfect. Then they ask, how much traffic is there? Traffic is a general idea, an uncountable noun, so they correctly use how much. See how it all connects right back to that one big rule we started with?
And honestly, that's the heart of it. It all boils down to knowing if the noun you're using is countable or uncountable. So let's put the most important pairs together on one final slide, just to help it stick in your memory.
So here it is, your quick start guide. If you can count it, like eggs or chairs, you're going to be asking how many and talking about a few. If you can't count it, like bread or money, you'll be asking how much and talking about a little. I'd even suggest taking a screenshot of this. It's a great little cheat sheet to have on your phone while you're practicing.
At the end of the day, learning this stuff isn't just about rules. It's about being able to connect with people. And the only way to get really good at it is to start using it. So my question for you is, how many of these new phrases will you try in a conversation today? A few? A lot of them? Give it a shot. Thanks so much for joining me.